Hi you guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today is the first video that I'm filming back in my apartment, back in Paris, after having spent a month in both Canada and Portugal. Basically, I took the month of June and I spent half of it with my family to celebrate my 30th, and then half of it in Portugal with one of my friends from university. Her name is Myra, and her and I did 1 week in Lisbon and Porto, and then 1 week on the island of São Miguel in the Azores, and Jean and her fiance joined us. So that's where I've been for a month. I don't want to call it a vacation because it never is a vacation. I'm always filming, editing, writing, doing consultation calls, but it was a nice break, I guess, from the city. And of course, it's always like a dream to see my family for 2 weeks. It's like leading up to the trip, on one hand, I always push it to the back of my mind. I don't really enjoy flying, and so it's really hard for me to look forward to any type of trip. But for this trip specifically, I was so excited to see my parents and my family. I just completely forgot about my fear of flying and could not wait to land in Toronto. So yeah, that's where I've been for a month. And I thought for today's podcast, I could go through what I got as gifts for my birthday. All of them are incredibly thoughtful. They are just so wonderful. And actually, two gifts in particular are going to lead me down a new path when it comes to my business. So I'm excited to tell you that story as well. And I thought I could show you also what I bought as like souvenirs, I guess, in Canada. And then I'll do a separate video for Portugal. I think it's the easiest way to tell you guys about my trip. I think that I can remember moments through the gifts or the souvenirs that I bought. And I also whipped out my Polaroid album where I have a couple photos that I want to show you guys from my birthday party and people that I got to see again and stuff. So yeah, without further ado, welcome to today's video. I am so excited to be back. Literally the whole day of our flight from São Miguel back to Paris, I was just saying to Jean, I can't wait to go home. I can't wait to go home. It's one of those things that you realize, I think you always want what you can't have, right? And travel is one of those things. Everybody wants to travel, and traveling is really just such a privilege, and I'm so thankful to have been able to do this trip. But by the end of it, you just want to go home. You just want to go back to your routine. And so I was really, really excited to come back home to Paris. Although that was completely shattered the minute we landed. It was just terrible. I think the day we landed, it had to be around 40 degrees. And I was wearing a sweater and jeans. We got into the Uber to go home, and the Uber was infested with bugs. They were crawling all over us. We sat an hour in traffic with these bugs crawling on us. We open our apartment. It's a literal sauna. And then the past couple of days, actually, I haven't even been able to film because it has been so hot. I'm sure you guys are aware, you've heard on the news, but there was a huge heat wave in Europe, in Paris. In the apartment during the day, it's been about 40 degrees, which I think is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just been really bad. We do not have AC. We are south facing. When it's that hot, you just want to lie down and wait for the day to be over. It was crazy. But finally today, it was only around 30 degrees. So this afternoon, once the sun sort of passed from the highest point, I was able to sit down and start filming this video. I'm also, sorry, last quick thing. I feel like my mind is just jumbled, but this weekend they're also opening the Paris pools in the Seine, and I cannot think of a more refreshing way to enjoy the hot weather in Paris. I'm actually really excited. I did go and see them because I wanted to film a little vlog before they open the pools. I will say I am shocked that the pools are opening in only 2 days because the water is quite dirty. But I'm still excited to go and test them out. It was funny. I put it on my Instagram story today, and I was shocked because within the first 10 minutes of me posting a poll asking people whether or not they would or would not swim in the Seine, I had 45 people directly say no. It was like 100% of people said no. I was like, wow, okay. The Seine really has a bad rep, but I'll keep you posted. I am very excited for that, especially with all the hot weather that we've been having. And actually, sorry, final note before I get into my gifts, I just wanted to say if you haven't already signed up for the summer fall meetup, it's happening on the second Saturday in September. And I'll leave the sign up form down below. I think in the little survey, I ask for your email, your Instagram handle, and if you have any dietary restrictions. I just want to get an idea of the number of people who want to come before I sort of plan out the concrete details and the activities and stuff. And unlike last time, I do want to make sure I set up an Instagram group chat. That way people can chat with each other and it's easy to communicate after the event. So yeah, if you want to sign up for that, it is down below in the description. Without further ado, let's get into my thoughtful birthday gifts. I'll start actually with a picture from my album. So our second night in Toronto, we organized a little paddle tennis tournament with some family friends who also play paddle tennis. I'll show you this really cute picture of Jean and I. We love a good tennis skirt moment. And then after we played paddle tennis, we went back to our house and had a little dinner with our paddle tennis friends. Hopefully you can see okay. The problem with Polaroids is that sometimes the photos don't come out very clear. But I love taking my most memorable photos with my Polaroid camera because I feel like you just take so many photos on your iPhone that you never really take the time to go back and look and appreciate the moments that you shared with people. And I feel like I'm more likely to look through my Polaroid album than I am on my phone photo album. But anyways, our paddle tennis friends actually gave me my first birthday gift a couple days early, but they gifted Jean and I, both of us, because we're going to use it together, a gift card to the paddle tennis courts in Paris, the ones by the Eiffel Tower, which I thought was so thoughtful. We only recently started getting into Padel, I think it's called, in Paris, and the problem is that it's so expensive. Like, in Toronto, you can just buy an annual membership for the courts in your neighborhood, and it's not too expensive, and it gives you unlimited access for you and for your guests to play paddle tennis. And a lot of the paddle tennis courts actually have little houses or shacks, if you want to call them, in between the courts where you can go and enjoy a drink or food and socialize after your games. And when you compare that to the system they have in Paris, it's like a timed event. You have to book your hour and a half time slot. It's like 80 euros per time slot. So you divide that by 4, you're looking at, what is that, 20 euros per person, which is a lot. If you want to play twice a week, for example, that's a big amount of money to allocate to playing this sport. And I haven't found a club yet where we could just buy an affordable annual membership and play. But anyways, that's the setup in Paris. So it is a little bit expensive for us to play. And so it's really nice to have this gift card. So basically with the gift card, we can go twice and play with our friends. It is so exciting, so thoughtful. After that paddle tennis night, we started to sort of prepare for the family birthday party. The reason why I wanted to fly home for my birthday is because I wanted to celebrate it with my family. So a couple months prior, I actually sent out postcard invitations. I use this website called Fizzer, Fizzer, and basically they allow you to customize a postcard, so you can put several different photos on the card, and then, you have your message on the inside. And I believe the way it works is they actually print the cards where you're sending them, so that the shipping time is a little bit less. So I obviously put Toronto addresses. I'm assuming their print shop in Toronto printed them and sent them out. And I thought that was really nice to be able to give people like a physical invitation to the party with pictures. And so I saw a lot of my extended family, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, and we just spent my birthday at the beach, barbecuing, and it's hard to communicate. Like, I don't even have the words for how grateful I am, but my parents just went above and beyond in organizing the most perfect day. And it wasn't just one day. We obviously had this big family party, but then we had a little party just between us on my actual birthday. I got to see so many people on so many different days. I just felt like the whole trip, it was my birthday. And yeah, the big family party in particular was just incredible. I was smiling the whole time. I was running around in dresses and then in bathing suits and having drinks on the beach and then burgers at lunch and pizza in the evening and campfires, and it was just the best day. So that in and of itself, I think, was a huge gift from my parents. I just don't even have the words for how grateful I am. But actually, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Before we had my birthday party, the day before actually, I had my friend from university's party, Myra, my friend who I actually went on the birthday trip with in Portugal after Canada. She's born a little bit before me. Her and I have been friends for I think 8 years. So quite a long time. We're both Gemini queens. We're very similar. And so for my birthday, she made me this really cute photo album filled with memories from when we were working together, when we were studying in Ottawa, when we were partying together. It just a full book of memories. I'll show you guys some of my favorite pictures. Okay, so I love this picture. I think we look so adorable. Baby Myra and Arielle. Hold on, let me get it to focus. This was us at a work picnic in the summer, I think. And we just look so cute in our little dresses. I think another funny one to show you the size difference of Myra and I is this one. So this is us sitting in the botanical gardens that they'd actually set up in Ottawa for the 150th anniversary of Canada. We were working in Ottawa at the time, so there were tons of events all summer long. And there was this huge garden that was created with all these different bushes and trees that were sculpted into these crazy structures. And so we took that picture of us sitting in these deck chairs in the middle of the event. And you could just see how small she is compared to me. It's adorable. What else? Another one from our university years. It's hard to get the photos without the glare, but on the left, you have her and I on St. Patrick's Day when we were in university. Again, we were so cute. And this was a paint night event that we did. I don't know, just lots of memories in this book, and there is space at the end to add more. Probably all of the pictures from our trip to Portugal. Now, for Myra's birthday, I actually ended up coordinating with her fiance months in advance. I knew that I wanted to surprise her. I wanted to surprise her with breakfast, and I knew she would have no idea because it was like the day after I arrived. And she was working, and I hadn't told her that I was available on that day. I just knew it would be a surprise. So I coordinated with her fiance, and we figured out how he would secretly let me into her apartment. And Myra was actually working on her birthday. So, like, we snuck in, because Jean came with me. He had to drive me. We snuck into her apartment, and we literally just hid. I'll show you a picture of her fiance Daniel and I. We just hid together behind her kitchen island, and it was hilarious to us because we could like hear her doing her work. And we were waiting for her to come out and get her morning coffee, and when she did, Jean and I and Daniel, we all jumped out. I had these, I don't know what you call them, like the little tiny birthday horns that you blow and they make a noise. We jumped out, we blew the horn. She was so surprised. Her face was a mixture of surprise and fear. And I'd picked up her favorite breakfast. I got breakfast for all of us. And then the gift I got her, which is also kind of a gift to myself, is I got her and I matching Gemini necklaces from Verpal, who is my favorite jeweler in Paris. So this is what mine looks like. And mine is plated in silver. Myra's is plated in gold because gold looks the best on Myra. And yeah, I just wanted us to have matching necklaces for our birthday. I just think we've always referred to each other as like, you know, Gemini queens. So I thought it was a cool gift to give her. And then another thing I got her actually, because she just got engaged like before we arrived. And I never got to show you guys, but if you remember when I was doing my Cézanne dress unboxing, there was one dress I couldn't show you, and it was this white silk dress from Cézanne. That was Myra's engagement gift. I got her a really pretty, either a nightie or a slip, or you could even just wear it as a dress. It was this silk mini dress with little lace detailing, and it's from Suzanne. It's our brand, and I thought that was a nice gift to give her to congratulate her. I don't know if that's the verb, to tell her how happy I am for her that she got engaged. So yeah, that was mine and Myra's birthday gifts. Moving on to the family party. Let me see what photos I can show you. So this was me actually the morning of. I had bought so many treats like chocolates, candies, pastries, trinkets, grocery tote bags, little gifts that I think reminded me of each specific aunt and uncle. And so I packaged these massive loot bags to thank everybody for coming to my party. And I set all that up the night before and the day of. It was like a huge project in and of itself. Here are my parents manning the barbecue, if the camera will focus. Some aunts and uncles and cousins sitting down for lunch. My mom popping the champagne and afterwards giving a very sentimental toast. Me and my dad, me whacking the piñata that they set up for me. Maybe I'll show you one more. This is the group photo of the cousins that we did at the end. So yeah, that was my big family party. I'll also put a picture of my parents and I with the ice cream cake they got me. Yeah, it was the best day. I don't think I could have had a better birthday. And like I said, it's just, I'm so grateful for everything my parents have ever done for me. But this birthday was just really special. And yeah, I'm really thankful for them. And then in terms of gifts, I can't show you the actual gift, but all of my aunts and uncles actually contributed to a communal gift. I told my parents in advance, like, if people ask you what to get me, I cannot take things back home with me. I'm traveling with a carry-on. Like, I can't bring anything home. And so she actually set up a little money pot because I told her I really, really want to get a pair of leather fall boots from the brand La Botte Gardienne. I did a whole unboxing of the shoes that I already bought from them in an earlier video. And the reason why I like this shoe company is because you can customize the size and the color, which is great for someone like me because I have 2 feet that are different sizes. And I always either have 1 foot that's sliding out of the shoe or 1 foot that is way, way too tight, always in pain. And so I really want to buy their leather boots made in France in 2 different sizes for my feet. The problem, the hiccup, is that these boots are 600 euros, okay? Which is like 900 Canadian dollars. I've never spent nearly that much money on anything in my life other than a flight. And it was definitely outside of my price range. And so it was really nice that my whole family came together and sort of gifted me my dream pair of boots. And so I'll have to keep you guys updated. I'll keep them updated as well. But I won't order them until the fall. And it takes a month for La Botte Gardienne to actually make the shoes. So I won't be able to show you those for a while. But that was the gift they got me. And then we had my actual birthday a few days later. And here are my parents with the homemade red velvet cake that my mom made me. Red velvet is my favorite kind of cake, and I'm really big on organic, homemade, healthy versions of things. And so my mom actually made a real red velvet cake with beet puree and beet juice for the red coloring as opposed to adding like artificial red coloring. So that was crazy. And we also went out for dinner. Here's a little photo of me, my mom, and Jean. We just got Mexican food and margaritas. And my birthday actually was another fabulous day. I spent it with my family, like my mom, dad, my sister, Jean, and my grandma. My brother wasn't there because he was actually presenting his research at a conference in another province. So he got the pass to miss my birthday, and I'm very proud of him. But yeah, it was just the 6 of us for my actual birthday. And We spent it doing my favorite thrift shops. We spent it going to the arcade, having cake, having margaritas. That day was amazing. My brother and his girlfriend gave me my gift a little bit earlier, but they got me this beautiful, hopefully you can see it, pearl and gold necklace. So pretty. And let me show you the card that actually my brother's girlfriend made as well. I have so many birthday cards, and actually I think I put her card in the box of the necklace, which is somewhere in my room. But basically, she did her research and she found that the 30th anniversary, I think, is pearl, and my birthstone is pearl. So that's why I have a pearl necklace. And then she actually made me this crazy card in the shape of like a pearl shell. I don't know what you call it, an oyster. An oyster shell, and the paper that she used was pearlescent, and you'd like open the shell and they had the message they wrote. That was thoughtful. And then my brother also gave me my Christmas gift early. My brother really went all out this year because every time I go home, I always bring with me not just souvenirs for everybody, but I also normally think in advance, and I also bring their Christmas gifts and I sort of hide them and then they can open them on Christmas. And every time I come home, I also bring stuff for his girlfriend, who is wonderful. So I think he really wanted to go out and show me how much he cares and thinks about me for my 30th and also Christmas. But basically he got me the necklace that I have been eyeing from Verpal for months. I have wanted this necklace for so long. It's this gold-plated choker with a marigold in the center. Beautiful. He knows me so well. I also sent my mom my jewelry wish list, so. And then my grandma wrote me a really sweet card, and she gave me some shopping money because she knew for my birthday I really wanted to go to like my favorite thrift store. It's a thrift store and a coffee shop, and I just wanted to spend hours in there getting a bunch of things. I actually have some of the items that I bought to show you guys, and I also bought shoes and stuff. So thank you, Grandma. That was the perfect gift. Then we have Jean. And I've been telling Jean for a year now that I really want just a basic black leather purse that I can throw with any outfit, summer, spring, fall, winter. I just don't have like a handy black bag that goes with everything. And so he actually got this for me. It's so interesting. I don't remember the name of the creator. I'll have to find it because I also need to ask her if she can modify the bag. But basically he got me this black leather crossbody with wood detailing. You can see the inside. And I absolutely adore it, but I need the strap to be shortened a little bit. So yeah, hopefully I can get that done. We love a man who listens. And as well, I think, you know, the fact that Jean was happy to come with me on this trip and use his vacation days to spend the time with my family and I, and to help with the party and just be the best man in the world. That's also a huge gift. And now we get to the gifts oh my gosh, I forgot my parents' gift. I'm so sorry. It's because I don't have my parents' gift with me. I'll have to put a picture on screen. My parents' gift is crazy. It's so my parents. Like I said, they're incredibly thoughtful. They plan in advance. My jaw was on the floor when I opened their gift. Basically, they got me a custom necklace that matches my Arielle in Paris logo, where the A is the Eiffel Tower. And it's just so beautiful. Like, I put it on and I didn't take it off once. However, the space between the R and the I is really thin. It's really quite fragile. And one day I was pulling off a sweater in Lisbon and the necklace snapped. And I was devastated because I felt like I did something wrong, and my parents, who like had this custom jewelry made, were pretty annoyed that the jeweler would make it so thin that it would snap if I was just taking off a sweater. So they contacted him. He said he could fix the necklace, no problem. So I actually sent the necklace back home with Myra, because after Canada, her and I went to Lisbon, Porto, and then the Azores. And so from the Azores, she was heading back to Toronto, and she, thankfully, kindly agreed to transport the necklace back home to get repaired. So I can't wear it, which is also devastating because it's so beautiful. And I thought it was so cool to have a necklace match my whole life, like my whole brand. So yeah, I'll put a picture. Mom and Dad, I loved it. I hope to get it back soon. But yeah, moving on to the last set of gifts I want to talk about, because these are the gifts that I'm hoping you will enjoy in the future. And I'm talking about gifts from Jean's mom. So I'll just do the less sentimental one first. She got me this beautiful pair of handcrafted earrings. We love it. We love jewelry, gifts, anything that is made by a person with love. So perfect. And red is also my favorite color. The next gifts are Françoise creations. You guys know I have mentioned it many times before, but Jean's mom is a wizard with a sewing machine, with crochet needles. She is so incredibly talented. I have never seen anything like this. And my grandma even made a comment. I put these things on and she was like, holy cow, you can tell she's amazing. She knows what she's doing. I'm so lucky. But basically, so from smallest to biggest, she made me this sunglass holder. And it's so cute because when you unsnap it, it's also a little heart. And I love this because let me tell you, most sunglass companies make ginormous sunglass cases that don't fit into little bags or purses or fanny packs. And so this is just the best, I think, if you have a smaller bag. And to match the sunglass case, she made me this tote bag, which has the coolest shape. Like, I love this triangle shape. It's so chic. It is the chicest. The next two pieces I want to say are custom because I actually asked Jean. I said, did your mom ask you what I wanted for my birthday by chance? And he was like, yeah, maybe. Do you want me to tell her something? And I was like, yes. Because I couldn't find this specific top that I was looking for. I wanted one of those tops that sort of tie with bow ties down the center, but I wanted it to be made of 100% cotton, and I was only finding things that are like trendy, fast fashion, made with polyester. And so I was like, do you think your mom could make this? And he was like, I don't know, I'll let her, like, I'll tell her, but that looks complicated. I don't know, we'll see. So I sort of put it out of my mind. Here is top one. Hold on, let me tie them. The cutest. Like, I have been wearing this non-stop. I love it. And it's perfect for those hot summer days in Portugal, in Paris, because it's made with cotton, it's breathable, and because it's pretty loose fitting, like the breeze can pass through and I don't feel like I'm suffocating in skin tight clothing. So this is number one. Also, hello. Look at the cuteness of this little heart detail at the very top there. Like, I can't with this woman. She is amazing. Now, when Jean showed her a picture of that blouse, she was like, that looks a little scandalous. Like, looks a little open down the center. And so she made me a second top. Same concept, except this one obviously has puffy sleeves. And here there are only two bows. and she actually made a little cover to sort of close the hole between the two bows. That being said, this top is still scandalous because when I put it on, you can see my belly button. But yeah, I'll have to insert pictures of me wearing both of these. Like I said, I wore them every day on my trip, pretty much to the beach, out in the streets, walking around, like couldn't get enough. And like I said, I'm so blown away by her talent. And I've been throwing this idea around with her for, I don't know, a year and a half now. I really want her to make my merch. I want it to be more than just her making my merch, because I know that her least favorite part of sewing clothing is cutting the fabrics. And so the idea in my head is that her and I could work together on making a merch line with tote bags, sunglass cases, blouses, everything sourced in an environmentally friendly way and made by Françoise and I would definitely help her cut, obviously, all the fabrics, but I'm thinking we could even spend time together and she could show me. That way I could be more involved and start sewing myself. And when I think about making merch, like I haven't made merch up until this point, even though like a number of companies have reached out and stuff, is because I don't want to make merch with low quality materials. I don't want the merch to be made in an unethical way, whether that is in a way that's not environmentally responsible, or whether that's people who are making the merch that aren't being paid a livable wage, that aren't working in good conditions. So I've always wanted my merch to be made close to home. And I actually asked a seamstress locally here in Paris what she would charge me to make a tote bag, for example, like a simple tote bag. And she said, if you buy the materials for me, I will charge you 15 euros per tote bag, which is actually quite a lot because the materials themselves would also be expensive. And actually, when I tossed the idea around with Myra and my mom, they were kind of like, you know, you would have to obviously increase that price based on labor and time and other costs, and then you'd have to add shipping for the customer, and it's just like, who would pay that much money for a tote bag? Which I didn't necessarily agree with, because I will always spend more money if I know something is made ethically and environmentally friendly, but I digress. The point is, I kind of in my head, I'm like, I would rather just give that money to Françoise and learn with her and like make these beautiful pieces with her, because I know she's so talented. So I'm hoping, my idea, I'm preparing a PowerPoint presentation deck because Françoise has warmed up to the idea. I'm going to prepare a PowerPoint presentation to like, you know, give her more of an idea of what I want to create and the timelines and stuff, because I'm hoping that I can have this merch done by the time that I reach 100,000 subscribers to sort of make that one of the surprises. There are more surprises, but I think that'll be one of them. So yeah, you guys have to let me know what you think, if that would be something you're interested in. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because the second I put those shirts on, the blouses on, I was blown away. I loved them immediately, and I was like, the girlies need to have this. I need to be making these. So yes, that is all I think for birthday gifts. I'll see if there's any other pictures I want to show you from my album. Okay, one more funny one. This was my second to last day, or Jean's last day in Toronto, and it was not my dad's birthday, sorry, it was Father's Day. And we have this funny prank that we pull on my dad, is we go to the best dim sum restaurant, like my favorite dim sum restaurant in Toronto. It's called Pearl, or The Pearl. It's near Harbourfront and it's on the lake. And not only is the food really good, but you have this crazy view of Lake Ontario and Center Island. It's just sublime. But basically, this whole thing started probably 2 years ago when our family went to the Pearl restaurant one time when I was visiting. And my brother and sister and I thought it would be so funny if we told the waiters it was my dad's birthday. And we were not prepared, because they came out singing happy birthday, and they brought the most adorable Hello Kitty mango pudding dessert. And my dad was so confused. It was the funniest thing. And so we did that again this year, but for Father's Day. And this is the picture I took of when the waiters brought him his dessert. The day before, my sister and I went to the dollar store and we got him this big happy birthday cake, hat, a birthday boy sash. We picked up a couple treats. My sister also picked up a couple treats, like Italian treats for him for Father's Day. And yeah, you can see on his face, like, it was just it's so funny. And my dad is such a funny guy. Like, it's just, his reaction was priceless. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the gifts I got. I will mention one more, which will come into play, I guess, when I film my second video on Portugal, is we rented an Airbnb from a family friend, from John and Isabel on São Miguel. And I'm actually writing a little mini guide for São Miguel, and I'll put all their information on how to book their Airbnb in that because it's the best. This is the second time that we've rented it when we go to the island. And as a birthday gift to Myra and I, they actually booked us a really special lunch with, I believe, a geologist and a biologist. So you go in and you have this Azorian themed lunch. Like, all the products come from the islands in the Azores. And they're basically just like an open book and this wealth of knowledge when it comes to the island, especially São Miguel. And it was fun because not only do we get to eat all this good food, but we also got to hear a lot more about the history and the landscape and the nature on the island, and I really appreciated that, and they organized that for us. So yeah, that was another gift, but more on that later when I talk about Portugal. Let me show you a couple things that I picked up in Canada. Let's start with the most boring, the least interesting. So I bought these cleats. I'm in my baseball era. So you guys know I mentioned on a podcast a while ago, but I tried out for a team and I ended up performing very well because baseball is not a common sport in France. Whereas in Toronto, I grew up playing baseball. I have like a decade worth of experience playing baseball competitively. So yeah, I didn't really have a huge doubt in my mind whether or not I would make the competitive team. But the problem is I went to this tryout with running shoes and I'm like sliding all over the bases, and the soil, like the dirt used, is red. It stained all my clothes. It stained my shoes. So I did take the time while I was in Toronto to go buy a pair of cleats. And because baseball is so much more popular in Toronto and in Canada as opposed to France, it was much easier to find shoes in my size in Toronto than it is in Paris. I don't even know of a baseball equipment store here. So yeah, I picked those up. And I didn't buy these, but I stole them from my parents' garage. These old baseball gloves, one for me and one for Jean, which honestly I prefer over buying a new glove because these ones are already worked in. So yeah, that's it for my baseball purchases. Another kind of random thing that I bought, that Jean and I bought, were these little capsules for Jean's dad. I don't know the specifics, okay, but they help you make cheese. They are natural rennet tablets, and in France, Jean's dad, he makes cheese. He loves it. He's good at it. But the rennet available to him, if I understand correctly, is only in liquid form, and it's only in large quantities. So you have to buy this crazy amount of rennet to make cheese, and he doesn't really need that much rennet, and you can't like save it because it's a product with a short lifespan. I don't know how to say that in English, but yeah, the pills he really wanted to try. You can only buy them in Canada from his research, from Quebec actually. They are the exact same idea, except because they're in capsule format, they last much longer than the liquid that he buys. I also did some shoe shopping. I really just close my eyes and get the shoes when I'm in Canada because you guys know, it is so hard for me to find size 12 in Paris. It is next to impossible. And I have been on the hunt for a red pair of leather shoes like this for a while. And I actually asked at La Botte Gardienne if they had this style of shoes in my size. And the problem is they only have their unisex shoes from sizes like 36 to 48 or something. And I'm a 45. And only their women's style, like their women's, styles of shoes go up to size 42, which is too small for me. So they do sell these shoes in store. They do not offer them in my size. I'm like, if La Botte Gardienne doesn't offer these in my size, no one will. So I did buy these from Aldo. They're actually quite comfortable. I'm excited to wear them. And then Aldo was having a sale. It was buy 2 pairs, get 20% off, I think. And so I also picked up these sandals in my size, which I thought were really cute. I love this toe ring detail. The sole is actually really comfortable of these shoes, but you can already tell, this has been my problem with Aldo shoes for my entire life, is that the straps and like the buckles and stuff aren't super well made and they break. Not easily, but they're not made for years of use in the same way that my sandals that I got from La Botte Gardienne are. Review coming soon. I know you guys wanted an update on those shoes, and I have been wearing them for over a month. I feel like I could give you a review, so that is coming. The next couple of things I'll show you, I picked up at the thrift store that I told you I went to for my birthday. Normally I find a lot more at the thrift store, but this time I guess I was out of luck. I mean, honestly, I didn't really have that much space in my suitcase, but this is the first item I picked up. It's this vintage dip dish. It says that it's a Port Marion oven to table dish made in England. I just thought it was really cute. I love vintage dishes. I feel like the designs and the quality is just better than what you have today. I feel like a lot of dishware today, even if it's colorful, even if it has fun shapes, I feel like it's all the same stuff. Like, it doesn't feel very unique. It doesn't feel handcrafted. It doesn't feel designed by a human. And so I do really prefer to pick up and mismatch even my dishware from vintage stores. I also grabbed this Christmas card, which is random, but I thought this was really cute. And this is actually printed in Canada. I don't know when, but it does say lithographed in Canada. And you have this winter scene, you have these horse-drawn carriages, and then you have another winter scene on the inside. Just a fun Christmas card I thought I could give someone. I also picked up an Archie comic, which I'm so excited to read. I totally miss reading Archie and Betty and Veronica. I thought they were so fun. And I think what's going to be interesting is to see if this older version of the comic book is, or how different it is from today's, like, social etiquette, I want to say. I got this book. If you know, you know, this was one of the books that really marked me as a child. It's called Love You Forever. I'm going to cry, actually. It's by Robert Munsch, and I don't have a child, obviously, but I thought, you know, you never know if I'll be able to buy this book in the future, if Jean and I have children, and I just thought I wanted to pick it up just in case so that I would have it to potentially read to them in the future. And then the last thing I got from the vintage store are these two vintage, I keep saying vintage, but this really is old. It was made in 1976, which isn't that old, but I think the concept is very old. We got these for Jean's nephews, who we adore. And basically, it's like this book of cardboard-ish figurines that you can sort of pop out and you fold and you build a set. So this one is called Rescue Patrol. You have like mountain climbers and ambulance and I don't know, fun, outdoorsy, adventurous things. I thought that'd be really good for the older boy. And then I just thought this one was so cool. This one is a shopping center. And I thought this would be really fun to build with both the boys. And as I'm saying that, I also just remembered that I left the edible gifts that we bought from the coffee store of this vintage boutique down below in the cab. It's been so hot in the actual apartment that the chocolates were melting. So I will go down and get them so I can show you, but I'll just move on to the last set of things we purchased, which we got from Sainte Marie among the Huron. We wanted to take Jean to experience this First Nations community. And the story of Sainte Marie among the Huron is about the Jesuits who came from France hoping to, I think, convert the First Nations who were living there. And it's really interesting because you get to see the actual village that they built. It's like a historical site, and you get to learn a lot about that time period, about the First Nations lifestyle. That feels like a crazy word to use, but like how they lived, how they ate, how they spent their time, how their communities were organized. And I just thought that was really interesting. And because you do have this meeting between the French Jesuits and the Canadian First Nations, we thought that would be fun to show Jean. And so in the gift shop of that store, we picked up some postcards, which we were supposed to send to Jean's family, but we didn't have the time. So I'll be sending them from Paris. But this one is actually designed by a First Nations artist. He's an Anishinaabe artist named Cody James Houle. I thought that was fun to support a local artist. This one is by an Ojibwe artist named Jason Adair from Vancouver. And we thought this one was really cool, and we actually want to send this to Jean's nephews. We thought they would appreciate it. And then we also grabbed this postcard of the Sainte Marie among the Hurons village itself. And then random, but I saw this necklace, which is handmade in Canada. It's 100% native owned. And I just saw this figurine of a woman in a canoe, and I just immediately thought of Sophie, like my friend that I met in Crete last year. It just really, I feel like this figurine or this pennant is symbolic of power and strength and independence, and I feel like those are all qualities that Sophie has. So yeah, I want to give that to her when I go back to Greece. Anyways, let me head down to the cave and grab the other things, like the food items that we purchased. Okay, I'm back with a food and candy haul. Normally, I really just like to bring home treats that are made in Canada with Canadian products, like maple syrup. But I have a couple other things that we can't get in France, like chocolate bars and candy. But yeah, the first sweet treat that we got at Loblaws. And they're these Canadian maple candy corns. They look delicious because there's also this pink and white or red and white icing thing on them. And we got 2 packs for gifts and 1 pack for Jean, who actually also just walked in. Jean could hear me filming outside, and so he just waited at the front door for me to finish, which was so sweet of him, but it definitely scared me when I opened the door. Anyways, he's gonna grab groceries, but do you want to try this before you go? Yeah? Good, you can open it while I'm continuing to talk. So we got those at Loblaws, and then from the cafe in the thrift shop that I went to on my birthday, we got Canadian polar bear droppings, which I think are those chocolate and coconut macaroon bites. We got a couple bags of that. And Canadian maple fudge. And these are all made in Canada. This one is actually made in Mississauga, so very close to Toronto. And then the last thing from the coffee shop as well are these treats. I forget what these are called. It was something cute. I'll have to think about it. But basically, it's like Canadian-made turtles. So you have caramel, nuts, and chocolate in this delicious bite. And I think we got like 10 of these, so we can give one to everyone in Jean's family. Is it good? Give me some. That's so good.
This is a big problem.
What's the big problem?
I want 10 more of these, please.
That's another reason why we have to store things in the cave, is so that we're not tempted to eat them. Because they have to last until Christmas. Anyways, back to Sainte Marie among the Huron. We also picked up these 2 strips of bison jerky. And these are also made by... Who are these made by, actually? I forget the name. I apologize, and I don't see it on here, but it says Treaty 6 Territory, and they are elder approved. So, voila. Oh, these we got for Jean's dad. I thought he'd love to try this. And we got them in the flavor Maple Saskatoon Berry. And not only do they, like, does their farm raise the bison, but they also grow these berries locally. So I thought it was a very ethical treat to bring. Now for the real junk food. I think we bought about 30 large size candy bars that we don't really have access to in France. Things like O. Henry, Coffee Crisp, Crunchy. Haven't had one of these in like a decade. And we thought these were cute stocking stuffers for Jean's family at Christmas. Bye, Jean. We're having burgers for dinner. And then the last treat that we brought home that I didn't buy, that my brother actually kindly, thoughtfully bought for me, are these cow tails. You might not know what this is. You might actually if you're American, because that's where I first tasted them. But I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to Florida for March break, and we would actually drive from Toronto to Florida. It was like a 24-hour drive or a 48-hour drive. It was long. And we used to stop in gas stations, obviously, to fill up, but also, you know, to get treats. And I remember this had to be 15 years ago, more than that, 17 years ago. I tried my first cowtail in a gas station, and they were selling them for 25 cents, which is crazy because I think now they go for $2. But they're just these strips of sugar in different flavors. We have caramel. That one is honey bun. That's green apple. And that one is chocolate brownie. And basically my family knows I'm obsessed with these. I always look for them whenever I'm in a gas station or somewhere where you can get snacks. And it is so rare to find them. Like, especially in Canada, it's incredibly rare. And my brother actually saw those where he was doing his, or where he was presenting his research. And he picked up 5 for me. I've already eaten one. I have to ration them out. But yeah, I'm very excited to have a little stash of cowtails handy. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of today's video. Wow, this was a long one. I feel like I've just been talking your ear off for far too long. And actually today I also had 3 consultations back to back to back. So my voice is a little tired. I think I sound a little raspy, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about my trip, about all the souvenirs I brought home, about my gifts and future merch. The next video I think will be about Portugal and the trip I did with Myra and then our partners. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It feels so good not only to be back, but to be back filming. And this is the first video I wanted to film, actually. As soon as I landed, I was like, I need to show you guys. I want to show you all the stuff I brought home. And it just feels good to catch up. So yeah, we'll have another catch-up video coming soon. And then I'll be back into the swing of Paris content and podcasts and etc. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.